Good afternoon and good evening. Evening, maybe. Welcome to Generation
Wherever
Movie.
you happen to be in the world.
Yeah, it's always 5 o'clock somewhere. Welcome to Generation Movie New Release Friday. My name is JW Colwell. This is my good buddy Rich Drees. We're here to do the opening weekend spoiler-free review as best we can of the new thriller, the dinosaur thriller, The End of Oak Street. That's coming out this weekend with Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you joining us. If you are joining us and you like the show, we have all kinds of cool shows. The Indie Escape Network, where creatives unite. We have all things available. We do our live streaming on YouTube and Facebook, which you're watching now. We also have Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. If you just want to listen, and some people would say we do have voices, we do have faces for radio, so that's fine.
And voices for mine.
We have some great shows on the network. We have Generation Movie, which is Rich and myself. We do a movie history show. We do that every Monday night at 9 p.m., provided we don't have things to do or screenings to get to like Rich does. This week we will be doing The Fly, David Cronenberg's 1986 remake celebrating 40 years of This Is How Brundlefly Eats. That'll be Monday night at 9 p.m. One of the great reboots, remakes, whatever you want to call it, of all time. We also have other shows on the network. Loud Nerdy is the other show I do on this network, with my good friend Jared Kimura and Raven, the delightfully difficult one. That is on Tuesday nights at 9. Gabe, Simplistic Cynicism with Gabe Simplista. He has some great guests. He just had the amazing Alex Asoa on. She's fantastic. She was in Dr. Sleep. She played Wendy Torrance. She was in Midnight Mass, so she's like she's a Flanagan player, and she could not. I asked a question of whether or not she's in the new Carrie show, and she could not answer it. Pitfall, Pope's Exorcist. She also brought up the fact on the show that Russell Crowe threw her a birthday party. So we've had a guest on the network that's had a birthday party thrown by Russell Crowe. We also, so Gabe's show is great. He does all kinds of cool interviews. And then on Thursday night, every other Thursday, Technical Defects with Ryan West and Joe Ridgely. Maybe Jumpin' Joe Ridgely, Ryan West. This week, they have Technical Defects has Kelly Jones, comic book artist of Batman Nightfall, who will be on to talk about not only the comic book and drawing a comic book, what it's like being a comic book artist, but also about seeing his work being brought to life in an R-rated animated DC animated movie. So super cool guest. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, the show you're watching right now, Generation Movie New Release Friday, where we tackle whatever the new releases are that are playing out in theaters. This week we will be looking at The End of Oak Street, which is an interesting movie. But like, I want to start with the idea that the movie is first off, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's unique. It's different. And what I think is most going to separate it from the pack this coming weekend, it's certainly not going to beat Spider-Man or anything like that, but it is going to have a good weekend for a movie that costs about $80 million, a third of what Spider-Man cost to make. And David Robert Mitchell is a good young director. He's done It Follows, and he's a very interesting young director. He did Under the Silver Lake, It Follows, he has The End of Oak Street. And so I think he's very talented. But for people Rich and at my age, what it's going to come across to you as, and what I think Rich is going to agree with me on maybe, is it is a loving tribute to the Amblin movies of the 1980s, where there was some semblances of consequences, where shit was actually dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And before we got to Jurassic Park and before we got to like some of these other things, family unit in a Spielberg movie was a big deal. So it's very much in line with those movies, right? The problem becomes if you're as well versed as I am or you are in Amblin movies and Spielberg movies from the 80s, is it a loving recreation, or is it a movie that's going to get by on the fact that people haven't seen some of those Amblin movies from the 80s? Right?
I don't think this movie holds up well to those Amblin movies.
No, it doesn't. But what I'm saying is, I don't think everybody's seen all the Amblin movies we have.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think what's going to happen is it looks original compared to everything that's been coming out, right? Mm-hmm. And where it's going to set, where it stands apart is, I think we've gotten into a pretty bad. And it's not that I don't enjoy the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, Jurassic movies. I do, even if they're not good, they're fun, right? But there has been a depiction of dinosaurs on screen that has gotten a little boring, right? It's just gotten a little. This one is more exciting, and it appears to be, physically correct dinosaurs. Oh shit.
Yeah, you're starting to freeze up there a little bit. While you work on fixing that real quick, just if you're not sure, if you haven't seen too much of the marketing materials, the movie is basically a suburban neighborhood in 1983, 1982, 1983, that gets accidentally transported back in time to the Mesozoic period, and there's dinosaurs who suddenly go, oh, hey, these little things running around screaming look awful crunchy and delicious.
They look delicious.
And, yes.
I think, and like
Anne
I said,
Hathaway and Ewan McGregor are parents of 2 children trying to keep their family alive, even though they're having their difficulties themselves.
Well, and that's the key, right? Every Amblin movie has every Amblin movie from the 80s, because Spielberg grew up in a divorced household. Every Amblin movie from the 80s not only has whatever the crisis is.
Yeah, you're still popping in and out here. But I know what you're saying, that every, family is fractured in some way. I mean, we see it, going back as far as like E.T. and Close Encounters. We see it in some of the other movies that Spielberg has produced along the way. Oddly enough, I would say Poltergeist, which Steven Spielberg produced and did not direct. And if anybody says he directed it, I'll punch him in the face. That actually has a solid family core. All of that family is really good together. The mom and the dad, are in a strong relationship, and all the kids, typical kid stuff. You poke your older sister, you give shit to your younger brother or what have you. But ultimately, though, I think that's the kind of weird standout. Now that I'm thinking about it, going down the list. Are you good?
I think I'm okay. Poltergeist is one of those standouts, right? Where everybody, and that the thing goes here. The family does love each other. Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor are very good. They are, they're having their issues. They're fighting a little bit more. They're kind of stuck in their lives. Their kids are growing up. They don't know if they're going to stay in the marriage. And in the 80s, everybody kind of stayed, even if it was for the kids. And so you have that dynamic, and it is a very strong dynamic that you and I have seen in a lot of things. So what I think is going to happen here, Rich, is that people are going to love it because it's not a Jurassic Park movie, and people are going to love it because they think it's some sort of original thing, because they just haven't seen the sheer volumes of the Amblin movies that we've seen.
They're not going to know the influences.
Right, and that's okay. It's just, I hope what happens is it ends up becoming a bridge, where the movie, you like this movie, go watch this movie. Go watch Poltergeist. You want to see actual, terror Like, and that's not to be said that there isn't terror in the movie. There is. Like, it is beautifully shot. It is on for a big effects heavy movie. It is an incredibly low budget of 80 million, anywhere from 80 to 90 million.
Yeah, it shows an incredible economy for the scale of the
yeah, it really does.
And I really wish more people, maybe there are some directors out there who could take some lessons from this, because quite honestly, if we can produce movies that look this good and this exciting, this effects heavy for a mere $80 million, any other, normally I would have said, oh, this probably costs about $175, $200. And once we bring down the cost and can still make it look this good, it looks great. It doesn't have to be as big, at the box office in order to, earn its money back. This is only going to need $200 million. Whereas if
it looks phenomenal.
It'd need $450.
I enjoyed a lot of it. I enjoyed a good portion of it. I think the acting's pretty solid for a standard 80s type movie. But that's the movie. Like, it's going to invoke, for people going, it's going to invoke nostalgia. It's going to invoke a time when you went to the movies and you went as a family, and it wasn't easy necessarily for the entire family to watch, but the entire family was there anyway. Right? It might have been a little bit scarier than you were expecting. Jaws is PG, for fuck's sake. Right? Jaws is a PG movie, right? Where people took their families to see it. I think Hathaway, something has to be talked about for her. She is having a banner summer. Like, if we look at the end of the summer and we're looking at winners, Anne Hathaway opened a movie in May. She starred in a big movie in July. And now she's starring in a big movie in August. The Anne Hathaway renaissance has begun. And she is fantastic in the movie. She
still has at least one or two more movies.
I think she has a bunch of stuff coming out at the end of the year, too. But
Verity, which looks amazing.
Right. So she's having a banner year. She's having a great year. And it is a, what I would say, it's a Dee Wallace role. You kids can look that up. It's a Dee Wallace role that's been punched up. Dee Wallace was the mom in E.T. She was in The Howling. She was also in Cujo. She was the mom in Cujo, right? Mm-hmm. It's a punched up mom under duress role that Hathaway makes her own. She's got a lot of stuff going on in her life. But like, it starts out in a cul-de-sac. It starts out with like kids and families having meals, breaking bread. And like I said, it is also one of the rare movies, and we're not going to get into any of the science of it or anything, but it doesn't care about the science.
It hand waves it a little bit.
It's MacGuffin-ish.
It forecasts it a little bit in the beginning. And I was like,
with Lance Parrish.
It's funny, though, because I remember talking to a fellow critic going into the screening going, this is probably going to be a good bit of fun. I think maybe how I react to the mechanism that gets them to the past is going to be whether this movie works for me or not. And actually, in a way, it wasn't. I have problems with the film's ending, though, that did kind of impact, how I felt about like what.
Well,
happened.
It's not. I will say it's not. We're not giving away any spoilers. It is not as dense or compact or as tight as, say, like an Amblin movie called Back to the Future, where we know exactly what the mechanism is, what the time travel rules are, how everything's going.
Yeah, it is not looks like clockwork.
Yes. Well, but what I'm saying is it's still an Amblin movie. I'm just trying to give Amblin examples. If we're going to call it Amblin recreation that's not quite as good as Amblin's, we've mentioned Poltergeist, E.T., Back to the Future, right? Like, we're hitting all the ones that we need to hit. Even Jaws it has a similar family structure in the movie where people are struggling within the family, right? And so it has all those makings, all those little tiny attributes. Husband and wife having a little bit of an issue. The husband kind of, maybe struggling with his place in a world where female, like his wife, is a little bit more dominant, right, and has more control over their lives than he does. Ewan McGregor's really good. The kids are good. Like every once in a while, we get into these movies and the kids aren't good, right? Like we look up, but Audrey, played by Maisie Stella, the daughter of Denise and Greg Platt, Christian Covery as Brian Platt, the son. They're good, so that helps. They're good young actors who are like plugging away. And like I said, like a lot of the movie is set up in shots like this where the audience sees the issue before the characters in the movie do. That is a conjecture of this type of filmmaking, right? And like I said, I think part of it is being done better than what we've gotten recently. What you think of the Jurassic World movies, what you think of the recent one, Rebirth or any of those, they've kind of gotten a little stale. One of the interesting things about this movie is it does feel fresher. Because again, we don't have the plot constraints of these four people going to an island where they're paying to see live dinosaurs.
Yeah. These were people who were thrust into this situation.
Yeah, so it's a little bit fresher. It's a little bit fresher and a little bit better, in a sense where it's the plot conceit isn't quite as stretchy, right? They don't really get into the science, except that Aubrey's a huge Carl Sagan fan. And like I said, I think it's one of those things where we can get engaged on what's happening based on, how the movie plays out. Right? Am I frozen?
Yeah, no, I can hear you. Your video is frozen a little bit there.
It's okay. So I think that's part of what you're going to go into love. I think for people who are big into nostalgia in the 80s, and you've seen this movie before, so it's fun. I think you have a valid point to say there's a problem with the ending, because the ending's one of the nicest rap bows I've ever seen in my life. And it also
it's too neat, and I think
it's not as messy.
It undermines certain things that the movie was willing to do earlier, and to kind
there's one thing in particular. It's a bad decision.
Yeah, to pull that rug back out from under you as an audience member and just yell, "Just kidding!" It left a bad taste in my mouth. I was not happy.
I think
everything else.
I think it also
B movie.
It betrays that particular moment pretty badly. I think people will talk about that. Although you might get the reaction you might get from folks. Again, it's an exciting, tense, well done film. It has a lot of laughs. You get chuckles here and there. There's a nosy neighbor that's destined for death. You know what I mean? Like, it has all of these things, where you're actively rooting for this guy to get plugged by a dinosaur at some point. And like I said, it doesn't pull off any of them so spectacular that you'll forget the 80s Amblin films. It's more like, oh, okay, that's what they're doing. They're kind of doing this. And like I said, I think it looks great. I think like the dinosaurs look particularly interesting and fun and different. Like there is a dog. Oh, by the way,
it's nice to see dinosaurs on the big screen with actual feathers.
Feathers, and also kind of like a unique, just different, unique, fun, not streamlined like Jurassic Park has become, right? There's a dog. The dog is awesome. He's amazing. He's got a pop culture name. I love it. I loved every moment of it.
Big fan of Starbuck. Yep.
A big fan of Starbuck. He's one of the best doggos of the summer. And like I said, there are incredible shots in this movie. They're incredible, like, really interesting, kind of like this is a picture of like what appears to be a Dyson sphere of some sort. It could also be, that's kind of directly lifted from the Terminator. You know what I mean? Like, it's all wonderful nostalgia. And then I think I liked it more than you did, but I also think I understand where you're coming from. That I think the ending is kind of a cop out that kind of betrays a major issue. First hour is great. First hour is fantastic.
I mean, yeah, the first act is great. It introduces everybody, gets all the relationships down. Doesn't feel really forced in any way.
Nope. It has a leisurely pace to it until the dinosaurs show up. I will also say there is there is one monster in the movie that is absolutely spectacular in design, concept. I'm not going to say what it is. It's my favorite creature in the entire movie. He's amazing. What?
The neighbor?
The neighbor.
Hey, he threatened a dog. He threatened a dog. He threatened
a dog. He deserves it. He deserves everything he gets. No, I'm talking about the let's see. How do I say this spoiler free? The swimming pool habitant.
Oh yeah. I don't know if that's really a actual
I don't care. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is.
Dino.
Whatever it is, Rich, it is a delightful thing that I think creates the second for me the first most amazing sequence of the movie. Although there is another sequence where again something is in the foreground and you're watching it play out as chuckle humans kind of talk to themselves while they're out in open air in a dinosaur land. So there's one that it's a great shot. That's a fantastic shot, but the sequence in the house is amazing. Like, and I was just like, oh, we gotta start cutting. Just start cutting. Grab a knife. Let's go. Yeah. And it's really good. Like I said, the kids are good. Anne Hathaway's really good. It's kind of a thankless role that gets punched up to star Anne Hathaway. And then when she gets punched up, she actually runs with it. She has stuff that she's dealing with her husband. She's a little bit upset with her husband. She's also maybe not happy in the marriage, which is again all ripe stuff that happens in 80s Amblin movies. But like I said, there are consequences. There is consequence. And I think that's what kind of establishes it firmly in the nostalgia 80s roots. Because I think we have a lot of movies today where people don't want to see the people they like in the movie get hurt. And we've gotten away from it. We've gotten away from damaging characters we love or damaging people that love the characters we love. And I think
characters making sacrifices, characters
unknowingly making sacrifices. And like I said, like that illustrates your point greatly about why the ending kind of feels a little too tight. A little too tidy.
Yeah, I don't want to get into that any further until after we're done and we're off the air.
Yeah, we're off the air. But like I said, I think for most people, the end of Oak Street is going to be a nostalgia bump, like a little hit they get right before the end of the summer, and it kind of like it's going to generate goodwill because it's going to remind you of movies that you saw when you were younger, and it's going to remind And for the people that are watching it that may have not seen those movies, I think it's got enough of the DNA of the Amblin movies to be a successful blockbuster for them, right? Like the movies that we were raised on, Rich, are better. And I'm saying this because every generation says this, but the movies you and I were raised on are better movies than the movies this generation is being raised on. And I don't mean it in a bad way. I just mean it. Every generation feels that way. And what's going to happen, I think, is that either you're going to get people that really love this movie and say, "Oh, it's original, it's fresh, it's different from Jurassic Park," which is what we want a dinosaur movie, but we don't necessarily want the cookie cutter variety that Jurassic World and Jurassic Park has become. We want something a little bit fresh, a little bit creative, a little inventive. A little bit where it's not people actively willing to go to an island full of dinosaurs and expect nothing to go wrong, right? And I think there's enough there's enough action. And like I said, David Robert Mitchell is a really good young director, right? He's made some interesting movies. It does have good cinematography. It moves by pretty quick. It's only like an hour and 40 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, it's got a great Michael Giacchino score. Like, it's got everything you need for a summer blockbuster.
I was gonna say it's got all the blockbuster ingredients.
And I think people will like it. I think people will like it as a lark at the end of the summer. You know what I mean? It's not
maybe being overly critical, but that's sometimes me.
I think you have every right to be overly critical because I think it's a valid point. I think the end does tie things up a little too tidy for me, but I don't know that this generation, as you know, we do generation movie here, right? I don't know that this generation doesn't like tidy. The world is so messy that they just want to go in and get their entertainment and get out. I thought we were going to end on a sequel, but the way it ends does not end in any way, shape, or form to facilitate a sequel. Although theoretically this could happen anywhere at any point because it's not set up by the science in the movie. That's the one thing that my underlying concern is that because it's so unspecific though, Rich, right? That there's no rhyme or reason to why, how, and everything happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so
it's kind of random stuff.
Yeah, it's just a random universe thing that happens.
Which I'm kind of fine with.
Well, it's original. We're from the 80s where everything needs a purpose.
Yeah.
Right?
If this had been a Paramount movie instead of Warner Brothers movie, I almost can see this being a Cloverfield film, just in type of what it's trying to do. Just here's some funky science fiction thing that's giving you some thrills. Frankly, I don't think we're ever going to get another Cloverfield film. So if you want to, in your imagination, pretend
I just want another Sluggo. I just want some more Sluggo. That's all I want.
Slusho.
Is it Slush? Wasn't it Sluggo?
No, Sluggo's from Nancy, the newspaper comic strip.
Oh, Sluggo, like the little boy. Okay, yeah, Slusho.
Yeah. Slusho.
Slusho was in Star Trek, for God's sake. Anyway, So, like I said, I think it's a fun movie. I think it's not necessarily as good as what the DNA it's created from. It's like a Xerox almost, but good performances from Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor. Excellent special effects on a pretty shoestring budget for a big blockbuster type movie. Some good chills, a couple really great thrilling action sequences, maybe 3 or 4 that are actually pretty good. What more could you want in a summer where we've already hit $4 billion at the box office, Rich? And like I said, I think it gets over and does fine. And I would encourage you guys, if you people watch a review and you like this movie, by all means go back and watch some of the 80s movies that we're talking about, that where there are people that are thrown into weird situations where there are actual consequences. And also even watch some of the bad ones.
Gremlins, Poltergeist, Explorers, Goonies.
I was gonna say Explorers is a great one, but that one, again, the consequences don't work at the end of that one either. That one actually
has some issues in production that
but what I'm saying is Explorers is actually a close kind of quality wise with The End of Oak Street. It's very close in quality. Monster Squad is another one from the 80s where people are thrown into extraordinary circumstances and like it may end up with a finely tuned bow, but it's fine. And again, I think people are going to love it and not realize all of the pieces that go into it. And one of the things we should say, it is dedicated to the memory of his father, right? So David Robert Mitchell becomes a film director. His dad passes away and he dedicates this movie to his dad. All I could think of at the end was, I understand now why it's got so much DNA in it. David Robert Mitchell was of our age going to those movies in the 80s. And his dad was the one that took him to those movies in the 80s. Like my dad took me. I immediately got, I was like, I didn't hate the ending quite as much because of that. For me, I was able to get over it. It doesn't give you any answers, though. That's another thing you should going in. That you may come out of it if you're a type of person that requires why something happened, how it happened.
If you're going in hoping there's a third act reveal that Dr. Perlunklunk over at the military
over at the Miss base
accidentally opened
from
up
the Steven Spielberg school, the Stephen King and Steven Spielberg. So that's the other thing. It has a lot of Stephen King in it, right? Even down to the author.
Yeah. I would say somebody that I was at the screening with compared it also to The Dome, which I think that's King, right?
That's fair. That's that's Stephen King. Under the Dome.
A certain way. Yeah, Under the Dome. Yeah.
Under the Dome. Yeah. But like I said, it works. It works remarkably well for what it is. It's essentially an hour and 40-minute thrill machine, like a roller coaster. And like I said, I think the actor, like Anne Hathaway, brings a certain level of skill that is beyond this movie. To be honest, so does Ewan McGregor. Right, they've been in these big budget effect. Starbuck is amazing, and then, like I said, the dinosaur designs are going to get people jacked because it's not necessarily things they've already seen. Right, it's not the streamlined. Like if you look at this guy here, I'm putting a picture up for people listening. It's not streamlined T-Rex. It's a T-Rex that's got like really cool bird feathers, right, and a feather bill going all the way down his tail. So it's not something you've seen before. So that's going to add to the air of interesting and originality that I think might get it over the edge for people. I think most people are going to like it. Afternoon, boys. Hi, Raven. Delightfully difficult. Raven. You. Under the Dome is King. Under the Dome is pretty good. It's very similar to Under the Dome. But like I said, it's not wildly successful, but it's a perfect matinee in August movie. It's not Weapons. Like Weapons came out around the same time last year in August. It's not the definitive super hit that Weapons was, right? But it is a really good end of the summer. That's been a really great summer at the box office.
Okay.
Also, go watch Amblin. Go watch Amblin movies and movies from the 80s where there were consequences and families. What else do you want to talk about before we go?
Well, before we go, first off, I'm gonna throw out a plug for a movie that's hitting video on demand this weekend, or it might have hit already this week. Gail Darty and the Celebrity Sex Pass. You heard me ranting about it a couple of weeks ago.
We talked about that.
I loved it very much. If you're looking for a good comedy and you just want a nice Saturday night in with a couple of friends on the couch and some adult beverages or inhalables or whatever, enjoy.
Or edibles.
So, check that out. I also saw speaking of edibles, The Wrong Girls, which opened this weekend. It's a fun little stoner comedy. I really liked the thread of sisterhood between the two leads.
It's Kristen Stewart and Alia Barker, right?
Alia Cash from Arrested Development. I was like halfway into the name and my brain went. It's a fun little thing. Excuse me. And it's a fun little movie. I recommend it.
Last thing we're gonna end on.
Also.
Oh, we got more.
I'll have my review out later this week, but this is something I know you have been waiting for. I'm sure a lot of people have been waiting for. If you're watching us,
yeah, I'm so jealous that you already saw it. So you can go F right off.
you can see it next Sunday in its national.
I will see it next Sunday in its national. You don't have to tell me twice.
I'm going, and then it opens on August 28th. And
it's a movie that's been a lot of talk, and everybody I've seen the reviews have all said it's the best of its kind since Who Framed Roger Rabbit, is what I'm hearing.
We are talking about Coyote versus Acme. I can talk about it actually. The review embargo is up, and I had the screener for 48 hours, and I watched it twice. So I just.
But I hear it's a love letter. I hear it's a love letter to the Looney Tunes.
Yes, love letter to Warner Brothers animated shorts. But additionally, and I love Warner Brothers animation. Not a big Coyote fan though, because I always found like the Coyote Roadrunner cartoons just to be the same joke. Let's see how many different times we can tell it, and that's fine. But they took that core of repetition and found a way to make it the heart of this movie. That the Coyote just doesn't, he repeats these things because he perseveres. He knows the odds are against him, and he keeps trying anyways. And and he knows he's probably going to fail every time. And
it's like us with a podcast network. It's like us with a podcast network, Rich. We just keep trying.
I will let Joe yell at you about that later. But I found that to be like a very inspirational core message throughout the movie. Plus, it's hilarious as hell. Will Arnett is wonderful. John Cena is great as the Acme lawyer. It's a lot of fun. There's the whole unintended metatextual context of a little guy taking on a big giant corporation versus trying to get this movie out from Warner Brothers when David Zaslav rather stupidly wanted to shelve this movie and never let anybody see it. And it's a wonderful film and just one of many, many, many stupid.
Well, Zaslav has made some incredible mistakes recently. We have the Cape Crusader on Amazon that's doing amazing, right? He was like, we don't want to put it on HBO Max. It's like, you don't want to put a Batman show on Amazon. You just sold it to Amazon Prime. You don't want to have a Batman show on HBO Max. Okay. You don't want a Looney Tunes product. You don't want to release a Looney Tunes movie, even though some of the biggest
for HBO Max. So was Scoob Haunted Holiday or whatever the one that they also shelved.
Yeah, it's Haunted Holiday. Yeah, that they also shelved, and Batgirl, right? So it's okay, last thing before we go. Quick answer to your question, Patty. I am seeing Patty Lopez Holland, ladies and gentlemen. I am seeing Paw Patrol probably tomorrow. Kids are big fans. I don't hate the Paw Patrol movies. They are what they are, and they're cute little dogs.
Kids and the fascist theologies here, but.
Zaslav is a fucking idiot. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we let you go out and enjoy your weekend, a couple things that are out that are doing well. X-Men 97 ended its run. Lanterns premieres on Sunday. Have with it. X-Men 97 was an incredible run, and whatever they're doing with season 3 and season 4 is going to be incredible. But we wanted to end today with D23 is occurring today, starting tonight.
7
predictions.
O'clock, so 10 o'clock Eastern is going to be the big 2-hour media thing. It's going to be like, hi, I'm from blah, 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 and we've got a movie coming up. Hi, I'm from The Princess Diaries. We're still shooting it.
Here's my prediction. You asked me for one or two predictions. We're going to get a Starfighter trailer tonight.
Yeah, that seems likely, and then they're going to hold it and not release it properly until Doomsday.
And then there is a new Doom trailer that's floating around.
Mm-hmm.
I did watch it. It is spectacular. Like it's
San Diego Comic-Con one.
It's good. Yeah. Well, it's not that. No, it's a new one.
Okay.
It's I don't know. Maybe it was fake. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it was fake, but it didn't appear to be fake. It looked real. And I think it's a new one, but it's basically, real quick. It's Doom voicing over picture. It's a quick cut of pictures of all the heroes as Scott, Ant-Man kissing his daughter on the head, and Captain America, shaking hands with Thor, and basically Doom doing a voiceover where he's like, all of you people have been given gifts of more life, and I'm going to take them all and destroy them. So, and then it's got 2 quick crossovers with the Fantastic Four, basically Sue Storm explaining who he is and what he means to them, and then basically Mr. Fantastic saying, "What the fuck are you doing? This is a bad idea. This is not a good idea, Victor. What the fuck?" Which is almost every Fantastic Four comic book. What are you doing? Why are you doing that shit? Stop trying to bang my wife. Which is essentially everything. And so I think we're going to see new trailers, but the Starfighter trailer is the one that when that leaks, that's the one everybody's going to be talking about, because
I don't think that's going to be the biggest thing out of D23 for Star Wars.
Oh, what do you got, Rich? What do you think?
Well, first of all, next year is the 50th anniversary. They're going to start, really going heavy on the promotion, and Starfighter is supposed to really kick off Star Wars' return to the big
greatness. Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
so see that.
I'm not going to lie. You putting the original trilogy, like, I don't know if it's going to be the original trilogy. If it's just going to be the original Star Wars with no bells and whistles, putting that back in theaters will get people stoked. Just because we haven't seen it in a long time, and
I have a feeling that in the room, Star Wars will probably be last. They will show the Starfighter trailer. People will lose their shit. And then after that, they will come out and say, "Oh, yeah, and by the way,
here's the trailer for the non-special edition Star Wars."
Well, they're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to show a trailer. I think after the Starfighter trailer, they're going to announce episodes 10, 11, and 12. I'm going to go out on a limb on that. For the Marvel stuff, we're going to get at least some X-Men people. Obviously, Sadie Sink. They've been talking about Kit Connor. Chris Abbott is rumored to have been just cast as Professor X.
That gets rid of the Skarsgård boys. That's too bad. The Skarsgård boys rumor was a great rumor. That was good. That could have been a lot of fun.
I have seen some comments here and there that they are going to announce who is playing Mr. Sinister. I know there's one name.
Well, it's Adam, right?
It's who?
Isn't it Adam?
A lot of people have been saying Adam Driver. I was hoping Adam Driver for Sebastian Shaw because we already have an Emma Frost for our Hellfire Club. We'll see. We'll see if Mr. Driver takes the stage tonight. Would be fun. What else do I have written down? There's rumors that they're going to announce a Miss Piggy movie.
Ooh.
Which I'm just like, do something with the fucking Muppets, please. And I will take a Miss Piggy movie. A live action Gaston movie with Glenn Powell.
That's a why.
I've always said I'm not a big fan of the live action adaptations, but if it's
I especially don't like the live adaptations that take a perfectly good villain and ruin them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't work.
I'm gonna re-show the Vision Quest trailer that I saw last October at New York Comic Con, because Vision Quest is coming out in a couple of months, and that one I have a feeling they're gonna put out online relatively quickly, simply because they're 2 months away on this and they need to ramp up the marketing for this.
Raven is going crazy, so hold on.
Okay,
we're gonna go rapid fire. Here we go. Time to binge X-Men 9 season 2 if you haven't watched it. So damn good. It is really good. Although I think the fight wasn't as good as it could have been. If you haven't watched it, let's see. She also said, "I want to see Sue Storm and Namor tension." I don't know that I need that. Give us Storm. Storm is important. They have to get Storm right. Don't mind drivers, either Shaw or Sinister. anything with Muppets. Patty writes, yes, more Muppets. The world needs Muppets right now. Muppet Show thing that they did was so good that Rogan did. The Muppet Show reboot that they did with Sabrina Carpenter was funny as hell, and they should do more of that. I always feel like the Muppets, like for whatever reason, I can't explain it. It's the one brand that Disney owns that they have no fucking idea what to do with.
No,
it's the one thing they just don't, because I think Henson didn't fit into a mold, right? And so Disney is a mold. They recreate the mold. Muppets are not. They're not mold worthy. They're all unique and special and different. And every Muppet incarnation, from the Muppet movie to the Muppets that came out with Jason Segel, they're usually the best adaptations are the ones where people who are really gifted comedians come on board and go, I love the Muppets as a kid, and I don't think you get the Muppets. And then like Jason Segel comes on and makes a really great Muppet movie. Rogan comes on and makes a really great episode of the Muppets. You know what I mean? Like it's always people that watched it as kids and got it. Got the idea that they were just fledgling entertainers trying to make things work at their little theater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Disney's too big for it. Disney doesn't get it.
Back in 2019, when Disney Plus first, flicked on, I made the argument, on Film Buff, that we needed a dedicated Muppet tile on the program. We had Star Wars, we had Marvel, we had the animation stuff, we had Nat Geo. But I really felt, and I still do, that we needed a Muppet thing. At the time, there was about 170 hours of Muppets content that Disney owned. And that was like all the all
they
the movies.
They should just run the old episodes of the Muppet Show,
with the exception of Takes Manhattan and Muppets from Space. So we're talking like the Muppet Show, Muppets Tonight, the ABC series The Muppets, and a few other things here. I
just think it's something they bought they don't know what to do with.
Yeah, since then they've done a few things. They've done like Muppets Mayhem, and they tried to do that like talk show thing.
Well, you might see, Rich, and this is where theme parks come and become involved for Disney. You might see the Muppets get more involved because they did recently take over Rock and Roller Coaster, right? So that is the new thing thing that's happened is Rock and Roller Coaster is a ride at Disney Hollywood Studios. It used to be hosted by Aerosmith with Aerosmith music. Now it's hosted by the Muppets, and so it's Mayhem, Dr. Teeth, and the Mayhem Band, right? I
know Disney wants to drive lots of families to the parks and the park experiences and the cruises and everything else to vacuum as much cash out of your wallets as possible, but
well worth it.
That's just a fraction of the people of the audience available for the Muppets through Disney Plus and a new Muppets series.
Yeah, I agree with that.
In theaters, so it's great that they're doing park stuff, but I don't think it feels like the tail wagging Rolf instead of Rolf wagging his tail.
The tail wagging Rolf. That's the meme of the episode.
I was starting to say the tail wagging the dog, and I was like, "Fuck no, I gotta go with
Rolf." Like I said, I think you could. There's got to be one or two more Muppet movies that before you and I go, right? We have to kind of will them into existence. Maybe what happens with the interesting thing about Coyote versus Acme is not only watching Warner Brothers flail as they sell something in this company called Ketchup that's going to release the movie and hopefully it succeeds. The other thing about it is maybe all these other big conglomerations look at some of their IP and some of their things and go, hey, can we give this to somebody and they can kind of make it into something special like Coyote versus Acme. And again,
the property. And
right. Right, and that's the fun about that. The other side of it is, can you look at the property, something like Coda versus Acme, realize how much work went into it, realize how much work went into something where, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and kind of get an idea where Disney goes, oh, we have stuff we can do too. And that's the hope for Coyote versus Acme, right? Like that's the hope is that people come out of it and go, we want more shit like this where it's IP, but it's incredibly original and incredibly fun and gets the stuff. And it all ties back to the end of Oak Street, right? Because it does get the nostalgia of the Amblin movies of the 80s. It's just not quite as good as the Amblin movies of the 80s, right?
No.
And that is a great place to end. Rich, where can people find your stuff and your reviews?
All of my writing can be found at filmbuffonline.com. We've also got a Facebook page where we let you know when new stuff gets posted, as well as all sorts of fun little historical things about on the state and history and stuff like that. You can find me on the various social networks called Twitter, Blue Sky, and occasionally, when I remember that I have the account, Threads, at FilmBuffRich. And next Saturday, the 22nd, I will be at the Route 22 Filmworks Film Festival in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, where our short film Murphy is one of 4 nominees for Best Local Short this year. I'm very excited about it.
Super excited for you. JW Movie Guy on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, all of those places, Instagram. Also on IMDb. We are the Indie Escape Network. Thank you for joining us today. We will see everybody next week. I just went up on what's playing next week. Tony is going to be one of the movies next week for me. Tony opens next week, and maybe Insidious. That is a horror franchise that has kind of gone downhill, and I'm curious to see if Lin Shaye coming back can bring it back from the depths to which it's plunged. Thank you for joining us. Everybody have a great week. Go see the end. Go ahead.
Also opening up, I think this week and hopefully larger next week, the new film from Andrew Patterson, who did The Vast of Night back in 2020. That really great spooky film. The Rivals of Amzia King. I've heard some really good word about it from a few of my colleagues who have seen it.
Oh, that's playing down here. I could have went to see that this week. But maybe if we both see it next week.
It's not anywhere near here this weekend, and I'm royally annoyed by that.
Maybe if we both get it next week, we can review it next week.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see everybody on Monday night for The Fly, one of the truly, if you are in a room and you're trying to concoct a remake, or if you're in a room and somebody goes, remakes are never as good as the originals. The 2 movies I always refer to are The Thing from 1982, because it's clearly better than the James Arness Walking Vegetable. And I also refer to The Fly as another one. That Cronenberg's remake of The Fly, while the classic with Vincent Price is great, the Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis Fly from 1986 is one of the truly great, gory, amazing horror films from the 80s. And truly great, glorious horror films from the 80s. And 86 was a great year. That's Monday. Thank you for joining us today. Everybody have a great weekend. Go see a movie. Go see The End of Oak Street, and then immediately go home and pop in Gremlins or Poltergeist or The Monster Squad or something where the 80s nostalgia will feed off of what you saw. And if you're going to see The End of Oak Street and you think it's original, cool. It's not, but enjoy the movie anyway. Bye. Have a great weekend.